Let's call this meeting to order of the Custer County Board of County Commissioners on Friday, June 30th at 9 a.m. Donna, would you lead us in the pledge, please?
I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Would the clerk please call the roll?
Commissioner Katnig.
Here.
Commissioner Hood.
Present.
Commissioner Prince.
Here.
Attorney Clint Smith. And Clerk to the Board, Kelly Cantor. Present.
Okay. Do we have any additions or amendments to the agenda at this time?
I do not, sir.
I do not.
Agenda will be approved as submitted. Do we have any minutes?
No.
Okay.
I've been trying.
It's all right. We fully
I'm
appreciate
this
that.
close.
All right, the next item we have on the agenda will be the introduction of the audience. And we'll start over here.
Jackie Bubis for the Sentinel.
John Johnston.
Cindy Howard, Emergency Manager.
Shannon Barley, sure.
Bill Parker.
Carolyn Parker.
Elizabeth Harmon.
Kevin Taylor.
Welcome. And I would like to offer a special welcome to you, Elizabeth. We had a meeting one night, and after we talked about the dark skies, she came over and some other of her friends, and we had a very nice discussion. And I invited her to come to the board meeting, and you're here, so thank you. Okay, any public comments at this time? Okay, there being none, we will move on. Any commissioner items?
I'll just give a brief update. I found it very interesting attending the two workshops that we had. The one with regards to light pollution and dark skies, and then also for the building codes. So it was interesting to hear both sides of the story. All those comments are taken under consideration. I also want to mention that I attended the Fair Board meeting this past Tuesday, and I'm pleased to report that our fair is moving along, just like preparations for that. Everything's under control. All good stuff to report. Sarah's doing an excellent job.
Thank you.
I've attended multiple meetings since the last time we met. I'd just like to update the airport status. The fuel system is back in full service, and I'm not certain of the term, but the NAVCOM that the pilots can view has been notified that we have service. A year or two ago, a mower ran into a private hangar. We received $1,000, slightly over $1,070 statement on the cost of damage to the hangar. I've been in contact with Dallas, chairman of that committee. That was supposed to have been paid by the individual who caused the damage, and it hasn't been done yet, but Dallas is pretty adamant that it's not a county issue. So I just want to report that that invoice that was kind of floating around probably will not be our invoice. Other than that, we're percolating along. We're down to the Wetmore building a number of times. Still waiting on the few punch list items that need to get done. We're holding the holdback of a little over $88,000, I believe it is, maybe $86,000, I don't remember exactly. Over $80,000 that we're going to hold until we as a commission feel that it's completed. So, and that's just standard. That's not us being, I mean, it's just a holdback until it's done. I'm done.
Okay, I don't know what I've done. It's been busy times. I want to compliment Jay and Donna's building's responsibility for the Wetmore Community Center. We had a nice open house. It's a neat facility. I hope we are getting some high-speed internet and stuff into there. I know that's in the process. It's been a challenge to make all these things fit, but working on it.
Yeah, well, it's ordered, it's scheduled for July 31. There's an issue with not enough service people in the area, so we're on a waiting list.
To give you folks an example of just little things that we face down there. One of the commercial companies come in to put cable into the building, and they hung the cable in the daggone trees across the back of the building. And across the road, they're hanging just up looped through a tree. Well, in terms of a long-term installation, that's probably not going to be satisfactory. So we've indicated maybe we need to put it a little more permanent. So, all right, let's move on now. Our attorney is not here today. We will. I know of no attorney items right now, and we're going to pass on the executive session again because the attorney is not here. Move into new and old business. We have the security grant for our security officer in the courthouse, which is Mike Halpin, and it goes through the underfunded application. So Shannon, would you like to come up and bring us up to date?
We're moving right along.
Welcome.
Once again. So yeah, I'm pressed on time because I actually have to join the county attorney in Canyon City for a meeting with some other folks from the governor's office. So Commissioner Hood just asked me to come in and talk a little bit about the court security grant and how that functions and what the purpose of that is. I guess just on some clarification. So as you may or may not know, so the court security grant serves to help provide funds to courthouses in small counties that could not otherwise afford to have security personnel in the courts. And there's certain criteria that have to be met by the different courts in order to receive those funds. We are one of 4 courthouses in the state that meet 4 criteria, which then provides for us to be fully, to get a grant that fully funds Sergeant Halpin to be in the court. So there is no cost to the county for his position. Currently, obviously it's grant money, so if that ever were to dry up, then that would be the case. But right now, so his position is fully funded. We're talking salary, benefits, across the gamut. 100%. I work with Donna Hobby each year when we're doing budgets to ensure that we project the cost of his position, any pay raises that he may or may not receive, and we add that in. So it covers that. Then secondarily, if we have any equipment upgrades or security upgrades that we want to try to incorporate into the courts, then we request funding for that as well. That's what paid for the new glass in front of the clerks there, with the pass-through and the mic. That paid for that grant paid for that equipment this year. The cameras around the entire county building were primarily funded with those grant monies as well. So that's that in a nutshell. Now, what does that encompass then when we say it provides money for Sergeant Halpin's salary? So his primary responsibilities is to the courts. Now we're in a unique situation because our courtroom and the clerks are all tied directly into the county building. And I know that it was brought up that, well, so maybe Mike Halpin could be responsible for opening and closing the county building every day. And that's all well and good, except that, Mike's one person and he has vacation time just like every other county employee. And Mike has some unique health challenges that it's not appropriate to go into, but so he has to take some time off, sick time, to go to attend some doctor's appointments and some things like that. So he's not here, every single day. Otherwise, though, he, where his office is, right over here by the clerk's office, he spends 90%, maybe more than that time there or in the courts. He's around the courts all the time. There was some concern brought up to me that maybe he's not spending as much time as he should be over here. Well, he has a computer that he works right out of the office right over there all the time. He doesn't get any special tasks. I don't assign him anything that brings him away from the courts because this is his primary position. But again, he takes vacation time and he takes sick time just like anybody, other county officials, and so if anybody doesn't think that he's working over here, I've got his timesheets for the last, since I've been in office, and anybody's welcome to come look at those anytime they choose to.
Is there a question? First of all, I'm hearing this for the first time. That
Sure.
there's question as to.
It was just brought to me.
Okay. Does he work for you, or with this grant? Does he? I mean, is he part of your organization?
Yes.
Is there any split thing? Okay.
So he works under he works for the sheriff's office because he's a sworn, and that's not always the case. In some instances, court security officer may not be post-certified, but lots of times it's retired police officers that then take a court security job because they are post-certified to maintain it. So they have arrest powers in the event someone comes into the court and they have a warrant for their arrest, something like that. The clerk runs them. Can tip them off, so he has arrest powers. So it's a positive that you have a post-certified officer.
Can I ask one last question? I'll pass it on. The grant covered the security glass for our clerks, wonderful and needed, but it didn't cover the doorway for the judge. I'm having a hard
So it's
time.
because we didn't apply to have that funded.
Got it. Thank you.
That's because, quite honestly, so we thought this was going to happen last year. The process went through and the bids came in, and then there was the person that provided the bids wanted to come on as a part-time employee with the county so that the county insurance would cover them while they did the job, and it got into, and that's an unreasonable request, at least in my mind it was, and the prior board agreed that that's not, and so we thought it was going to be done before the new budget cycle, so we could have requested it. Would it have happened? Maybe, maybe not, but it didn't.
Mike, you want to make a comment?
Well, just a couple of clarifications. By statute, the sheriff's department in each county is required to provide security for the court systems. So the grant provides the funds to the sheriff's office so they can provide that personnel and specific equipment. To expand on the door issue, it clearly will not fund any capital improvement projects to a county building. That's why the door wasn't included.
Okay.
So if it's a security issue on other aspects, we were able to get the bulletproof glass installed on the west court doors, and because of the type of glass and the weight involved, they were able to come in and they removed the entire door jamb and did it. So that was technically a capital improvement project, but we were upgrading the security there.
Yeah.
But as far as, because we've looked at that for the last 9 years, what else can we do with that money? And it's specifically in the guidelines. It's for security equipment and personnel needs.
Got it. Thank you.
I'm going to make a statement. Every time I've looked for Mike, he's here. Every time that I've needed something, he's here. And I want to make a public statement that Mike Halpin is certainly fulfilling his obligations as a court security officer and also providing additional services to the county.
I could not agree more. He's always here when I'm looking for him too.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah. So I would just like to add, you mentioned what his primary duties are. I think it should also be reiterated what his secondary duties are for the record to you.
Sure. So he approved. So I have 2 sergeants that are post-certified, Sergeant Halpin and Sergeant Wenzel, and we work 410s in the patrol side. So Sergeant Wenzel is off for 3 days a week. So Sergeant Halpin approves reports and reviews reports and accident reports and so on and so forth as a secondary duty, and he does them right there in his office here. In the mornings he comes to our office, he gets that paperwork, he comes over, he goes through those processes, and so he manages that report, those report approvals on the days that Sergeant Wenzel's off. So that's really his only other secondary duties. He does manage our fleet. He ensures that if we have an issue with a vehicle, that it's scheduled to get maintenance, and he works with Road and Bridge on that, or he schedules it to be picked up to go down the hill or delivered down the hill for maintenance or repair.
And as a certified law enforcement officer, I think he also is on duty if there's an emergency when he's in the Wetmore area.
Oh yeah, if he's at home or he's down in Wetmore and we have an emergency, yeah, he comes out. We all know with the flooding and stuff, he's come out and given us
24 hours.
assessments on.
Yep.
Yeah, it's a good asset. Other than that, I mean, it's invaluable. He's invaluable.
So he
But
can
that's
also
it.
he can also issue tickets if he needs to.
Oh, and he has in the mornings coming to work or whatever, or going home. You betcha if he sees somebody driving irresponsibly.
He's big, he's slow down.
Yes. So yes, I too want to thank you for your service.
Thanks.
And
I think that clarifies.
anything else?
No, I just wanted to make sure
I've
that
got
everybody's clear on that because there were some questions, and so.
I've got a grant here that I thought we'd already approved, but apparently we haven't.
So we have. So what that is so we did approve that. That's the underfunded courthouse grant
Right.
that we requested for the money for the glass
We
that was
just need
redundant.
additional signatures.
So no, what that is that's a modification so that we can get the new locks, the electronic locks.
So we need to approve this per se.
So I just needed a signature from you saying that you approved the grant modification to put the new electronic security locks on the different doors for the clerk's office and so on and so forth. That's all that is. It's a modification, no additional funds encumbered, no additional funds requested.
I think I'll ask our, it said Board of County Commissioners, I sign as chair, do you think that's all we need?
Yeah.
Now, does that have to go electronically?
No. I asked Marty Galvin, who's the administrator for court, and he said no. So I'll take this, I'll send it to Judge Murphy, the chief judge. He'll sign it, and then we'll get it to.
Keep us a sign, get us a signed copy.
Yes, sir.
And you
Yeah.
also.
Yeah, absolutely.
Great.
Absolutely.
Okay.
So if I make a copy for you and one for Miss Gady, that should be good. Okay, I'll take care of that.
Thank you, Sean.
That's all you need?
Very much. Thank
Yeah,
you.
yes, sir. Thanks for signing that.
I got you out of here. It's 18 minutes.
Thanks. Well, I just don't want to. I don't want to make the governor's office wait.
Don't speed.
Not a good plan.
No, I would never do that. God, I say.
Okay. I have reviewed the vouchers, and I think both of you have. I would entertain a motion to approve the vouchers for payment. Submitted.
I'll so move, but I do have a question.
Yeah, and I had a question, so I want to.
So let me move to approve the vouchers, and then why don't we discuss it? So I'll move to approve the vouchers.
I'll second it.
Okay.
Discussion.
Yeah, I don't know, I just want to make sure I understand what this is. Is a donation for capital improvement at the county fairgrounds for $5,000.
That was me.
What is that, please?
I made a donation from my salary to the Fair Board for capital improvements for that amount.
Okay, then I refrain from the question and I'll make it a comment. Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. My question was regarding a road and bridge expense, and it was for $73,937.
I saw that one.
I went to Donna before the meeting to get the answer, and that happens to be for the water truck.
That's the payment on the water truck.
Okay, so I just didn't know, looking at capital outlay, I just wanted further clarification, so, and I got it, so.
Okay, any other questions? I appreciate the diligence of my colleagues. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Pose same sign. Motion carries. So those are ready as soon as we can get the word to Donna. Okay, let's see, we need to get Jackie, I guess, maybe.
Jackie, let me call her.
Please.
Thank you. case you're wondering what we just did, we have a financial report that comes in from our finance division that shows us every expenditure, every voucher that's been requested payment in the last month. So we go through those line by line. And then if any of us have any questions, then we seek additional information or clarification. And it does add up to a fairly sizable amount. You know, we take, I don't know what the total was this month, but probably between 450 and 500,000. So the due diligence requires that we question and all understand where we are and what we're spending it for. And this is everything. If they go out here and buy a lot, there's a bill for it. That appears on this invoice. We had a question here regarding a $73,000 expenditure, and that's a payment for a water truck that we purchased a few months ago. That's an annual payment. So those types of things are what we get to look at and review. Did you get
It's on
it?
our way.
It's on our way, all right.
And I told Donna that the vouchers are
Oh,
good.
great.
Thank you. Multitasking.
I'm wearing two hats today.
Wearing two hats, didn't you? And they both fit. Welcome, Jackie.
Thank you.
Hello, Vic.
Hey, Bob. I'm gonna let my partner sit down in the, I guess there. I guess he doesn't want to sit up front. So,
We have a special use permit for Westcliff Supply.
yes, and Ed Lyons and Cole McCollum went through the process. Cole was the speaker. Ed Lyons is actually, Ed and Violet are the ones that are requesting the special use permit. They went through the presentation and the hearing part, and then you probably have a list of the 17 conditions that were placed on this special use permit. So now the last and final step is for the Board of County Commissioners to say approval or disapproval of the recommendation from the Planning Commission.
Can I please ask this for I mean, I read this and I'm with you, but could you just give us a big overview, just a macro overview of what are they asking a special permit to do?
Okay, it's basically a special use permit to run, it's mainly an outdoor hardware store at this point in time. And it has a little office, and then you would drive up and you could make phone calls like if you're doing a house project and order all the lumber. They would like to, if things get going and stuff, progress to a bigger building where they could sell stuff that has to be kept in cover, like nails and stuff like that. But that's farther down the road, and maybe at some time be able to build trusses. They also would like to put some of those little storage containers on their property to be able to rent out for people that need to store stuff. And then they do also sell those storage containers.
Where is this located?
And this is located on County Road 255. Well, I mean,
251.
251, and that's that road as you, first of all, you hit 255. Instead of making a right to go to the park in Silver Cliff, you make a left and you go between Emil Roy's and stuff, and then where the road splits and it goes around the mines, that's right there.
And my last question is why is this why is a special use permit necessary? What is a variance to the normal operation?
Everything in Custer County is zoned the same, agricultural and one dwelling. In order to run a business, you have to get permission to have a special use permit.
Okay.
And that's the process that they went through. It's a great process. We can sit and, as you noticed, and discuss all of the things, because if you'll notice on number 9, they have a maximum of 20 Connex containers will be allowed on site for storage rental use.
And what size are these containers?
8 by 40. 8 by 20.
It's not specified in here.
I don't think that we specified, because they come in two different lengths, I don't think we really actually specified a length or a size.
No,
I
we
think we just specified a quantity of 20
Yeah, I see that,
mats.
but in terms of that there were 2020s, that's only half the storage capacity of 2040s.
Correct,
20,
and
40.
see, that's the problem, I don't think we specified the 8 by 20s or the 8 by 40s, we just said 20 max.
And is the recommendation of the planning committee to approve this?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I'll make a motion that we accept the recommendation of the planning committee to, for the zoning variance, special use permit for Ed and Violet Lyons on 228 County Road 251 in Custer County.
Is there a second?
I'll second the motion.
Discussion.
Yes. With what you just said, Jackie, about them wanting to add to their business down the line, would they be coming back to your committee and have to apply for another special use permit with those additions?
No, they did it all in one sweep, so they didn't have to come back and modify it. But they have to keep us apprised of all the, if they're gonna move forward on the things. There's a C.
Because I don't see that here.
I just got if business is terminated. But I want, if we go back up to the top, number 2, the annual administrative review for the first 5 years is usually 1 year. I only review your special use permit for the first year, and then it's on written complaint basis. So this one is actually for 5 years to cover the situation if it evolves.
Number 13, at least on my list, is the one that says that you need to be notified if the business is terminated.
Yeah, but she's saying if they evolve like into the trusses and stuff. That's how come we did the 5-year review instead of the 1 year.
So you review it annually or only a 5-year review?
Annually for 5 years. Usually it's just one.
I know, but when you're saying the 5-year review, I wanted to be clear.
So I guess I'm still going to ask, should those items be specifically listed in these permit conditions? I'm only asking because I went through this process and my conditions were listed specifically.
I'm not sure I understand your question, Donna.
With what she's talking about with them adding on to their business, wanting to do a closed building, wanted to sell trusses, all those items that aren't listed here, should they be?
They are actually in the application. So I don't know. Cole's here. Cole and Ed, will you, if you are doing wonderful, which we hope you are, will you be looking forward to doing the trusses? Because Mrs. Hood has pointed out that in your conditions, we didn't say nothing about if you start building trusses that you need to come to.
Sure. Let me clarify that. So if we were to get into the truss business, which would mean there wouldn't be another truss company in the town, that's the only way I'm entertaining that option, we would have to come to you because we'd have to build those in a building. So that would be the only way.
You wouldn't have to come to us because we don't have any building codes.
Well, I would have to come to Jackie and let her know,
what he
hey,
says
I'm
me.
looking to build trusses, I'm building a building here. So as part of that application, I just thought that all went together. I'd have to have approval for all those things.
And I'm just gonna mention to you that I had to go through this process twice because I had to modify what my special use permit was.
Correct.
So I'm just asking for those specifics because whatever way you want to do, right now it's carte blanche. And I'm going to say to you, I disagree with how it's written. That if you want those avenues, list them here.
Oh,
Because
I
you're
didn't
going to
make that.
review.
No, it's
I
this
didn't
list
make that
comes
list.
from the planning commission.
It's not on what we're approving.
Yeah.
Pardon?
That's not on what we're approving. This is the document that we're approving. You list the specifications here. Special use.
Correct, I
permit
agree
conditions.
with that, but I'm
But-
just saying that this list is generated from the planning commission. So if we need to add on the trusses in a thing,
Or a
like,
closed building.
well, the closed building, he'll have to come get a permit. So
Okay.
I got,
Do that anyway.
yeah, he can't do any more building out there unless it
Okay.
comes to the zoning office. So the building part is where we keep the control over that. But the trusses, we could add number 18, or we could just make one at the top that basically says, if your business starts evolving, you must come tell the zoning office. And then if they say, well, now we're ready to do the trusses, and they were approved for the truss building, I could say, yes, you can do that.
When you approve the application, just a question. When I have that in there listed, everything that I want to do, and you're approving that application, isn't that in the list?
Well, what we're asking is that we've had other permits where this has had to been specified, and in this permit it's not specified. And we're asking why we have one set standards here,
Sure.
and now we've got a different.
But it is specified in the permit application, it's just not listed in the set of conditions to approve that permit.
But this is what we are approving, these are the set of conditions.
So you're not approving the application, just the set of
Just,
conditions?
we're approving the document we have here. We don't have until right now, I mean, we're getting down in the weeds here, and I don't, please bear with me, because
Sure.
I want you to know that I'm very much in favor of economic development. I like the idea. Yes.
Yeah, I guess the question I'd ask is I thought that there's an application and then there's list of conditions, so I thought that it would be filed both the application and the conditions. Is that
Okay, so and I appreciate the help. Your statement is that this is understood to be a part of this.
That was my,
Yes,
I think that's the,
It is, it's all together. But you got this, and you got that. And but mine's not white, mine is this.
I did not see that, that's why I'm.
You should have that, you should have that because Brenda has it.
Sorry.
We did
It
not
came
get
We
with
just got this.
It
That's
should
why
be,
we're
but this is all we
questioning
have.
this.
Okay, wait a minute. Where was
That's why it
the,
wasn't making sense?
It was not making sense to me, I'm
okay,
sorry.
where,
You're good.
you had the minutes. You circled the minutes last month. You circled the minutes about the water, and I had to explain the water to you. That was included with this, and, no?
I'm gonna say to you, I
I've
did not
seen
see that application.
Okay, well, we'll work on that situation in another, when we're all alone.
that's what
No, I
the
think
planning
we're on the same
commission
page.
assumes is that the application is filed and then these conditions are added to it, so.
It's a supplement to the application.
Exactly, yeah. And I don't know whether we did that, I can remember you and
So you are basically, excuse me, I didn't mean to.
yeah. Well, I remember when Donna came in, we did have to amend the application, but I can't recall if it was not specified in an
The original application.
Yeah, right. Brad Johnson.
Okay. Okay,
Yeah.
yeah.
So you're basically will be a lumber company with building supplies, hardware building supplies then.
Yes, sir.
Would you like to?
No further discussion.
Bear with me just a moment. I'm going to put on the other side of the fence. Show them which line do we talk about them becoming a going concern? When you were talking about the, give me a statement, if they're doing well, they have to,
Oh, number 2, is that what we're talking about? That the first 5 years I go check on them, and then after that I have to I go check on them if they have a written complaint, or I can spot check anytime. But and I usually call them before I come out, or a nice spot check.
Or were you talking about the trust, back to the trust thing, where she said if he's doing real well and he wants to do trust, come back in and talk about it? That kind of a question in there too.
No, that was on the application, Cole, and I don't think that for some reason
Yeah,
they got everything but that application.
gotcha.
A lot hurts when I mentioned if it was a going concern, as if your business was doing well, needed to notify us, and I guess that's not in here. And to me, that's an infringement upon your private property right. We don't need to know that. I mean, that's,
I agree.
Oh, I know what the statement was, if their business starts doing well, they will add the trusses to it. That was the statement.
Yes.
I don't care if they're doing well or bad, they don't have to come tell me. But if they're doing well enough, they were gonna add the trusses.
why would that have to be a separate item in it? Because lumber yards routinely sell, build, and handle trusses.
But
I mean, trusses, they don't make them super.
I agree totally with that statement. But in Custer County, if they would start building trusses and somebody drives by and they come in the office and they say, well, now Cole is making all this hammer noise and building trusses, and does he have permission to do that? And it's been done before, and Donna can speak to this. The complaints that people will drive by and
So
say,
you're looking at it from a noise or
I'm looking
an
at
infringement upon other people's
I'm
rights.
looking at it as, let me know in case someone calls and complains, I can answer them right away and say, yes, he started to build his trusses. I don't care anything else, because there is 5 or 6 phone calls a summer on a business. And I don't want to look like the one that did not know that they were building trusses. It's a courtesy thing.
Yeah, communication.
Communication, keep the lines open, so when someone calls the office,
I'll use
Can you
me as
give-
an example. When I know what my events are, she gets a list of the events and the dates.
one time,
I don't have a problem with that from the standpoint. I just want to be sure that we're not infringing
Don't
upon their
worry.
rights.
do you see those 2 men back there? Ed and Cole, if I was infringing on their rights, they would tell me.
Well, I don't think that, I don't
I'm
think that's
really
quite,
scared of Jackie, so I don't say anything.
that's fine. I don't think that's quite an appropriate comment to be part of our commission meeting at this time. Any other discussion? All right, I will call for the question on the motion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Congratulations.
Thank you very much, I appreciate it.
Hope you have a wonderful, successful day.
Thank you very much.
Anything we can do, or economic development can do, or, and this is as is, but there is a small business division out of Pueblo Community College that's available to come up and work with small businesses and the business side and stuff. Our economic development will work with them. And if they can be of any assistance to you in any way, shape, or form, please feel free to ask.
Appreciate it, yeah, looking forward to it. It's gonna be
Welcome
great.
to our community.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you.
Appreciate it.
Okay. Thanks, Vic. The next item of business we have is the personnel policy.
Before we go into that, Mr. Chairman, Ms. Trujillo asked if she could be notified that we're going to discuss that, and I told her, I'm sorry, sir, Ms. Trujillo asked if she could be part of that, and I told her we would notify her. Thank you, Ms. Kelly.
Bob, while we're waiting, may I ask a question? Have we hired a new grounds person for the courthouse?
Where we are right now, we've reviewed our policies, and when we have general items like that, that needs to come up under the public comment period. Were you here then?
Yes. I just, vacant.
Okay. Let's move on.
Okay. Under personnel policy, I'd like to take the lead on that. First,
The floor is yours.
the floor is mine. I would like to address the question that our county surveyor, Kit Shy, asked with regards to the fact that if he hires deputies, would they have to comply with our personnel policy? And first, I want to reference state statute 30-11-10. With board approval of his deputies, yes, to answer the question, they would have to follow the Custer County Comprehensive Personnel Policy. With that statement being made, I'd like to make the motion that the Board of County Commissioners approve there's several items here that I'd like to list. The personnel policy, the purchasing and contracting policies, the performance and goal setting evaluations. So I move that we adopt the documents that have been proposed.
Is there a second?
I'll second the motion.
Okay, let's move into discussion. Has this been a matter of public record? Has the public had a chance to, or they will have a chance after we pass it? Where are we standing on that process?
It's not necessary for public record. By state statute, the Board of County Commissioners approves and adopts the document. What we ask for is that all other elected officials also aid in following the policies. But our Board of County Commissioners is responsible for putting this together.
I will verify that.
I agree, but I wanted that to be stated. And I think in terms of discussion, I would take the prerogative of inviting our elected officials to see if they have any comments at this time.
I just have one. There's a lot of rumor and innuendo going around, so I just want to confirm that flex hours are still something that we can do in our offices separately.
Yes, let me just touch on that. The reason in here that we went to changing the county office hours are now from 8 till 5 is to better service our taxpayers, so that the offices such as yours, our assessor, our planning and zoning office, and our county clerk. Right now, we had asked you during workshop to consider staggering your employees at that time. And yes, so what we're looking to do is to adopt this today and to make this policy in effect today, but the hours for the courthouse for August 1st, so that we could make this public announcement.
Okay.
Does that clarify your question?
Yes.
And the only comment I have is on the hours. My office is going to shut some of our motor vehicle services off earlier so that my staff can go home before 5:30 or 6. Yes.
Can I make a comment?
My thought on that is that you go into a bank and say after such and such a time this will be on tomorrow's business. I see nothing wrong, I'm just speaking as myself as a commissioner, but I see nothing wrong with saying after 4 o'clock or 3:30 or whatever time you see appropriate, that the hours of registration for motor vehicles is from this hour to this hour. Mm-hmm. And then if it's after that hour, you'll have to come back because it does take you a period of time to complete the paperwork. Mm-hmm. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and I've talked to several other counties that do it that way, and that's why they do it, because some of our transactions are 30 to 45 minutes, and if somebody walks in at 5 to 5 with a 30-minute transaction.
I think that's purely within your prerogative as managing the office and your workload. Mm-hmm. Jay?
I was going to kick you just now. I was going to say the same thing. I also spoke to Chafee in Fremont County, because this question came up earlier. Mm-hmm. I felt it was appropriate at the time. I just wanted to verify that other counties do too, and they absolutely do. They have a little sign up saying office closes at 5, registrations taken until 4:30 that are processed that day, we'll take it, but we won't process it until the next day, those kind of things. And I personally feel that that's in your prerogative to make those decisions as you see fit.
I think the problem I have with taking the registration, taking it, is that oftentimes, depending on the vehicle, you have to go out and do a VIN inspection. And
Yeah,
once you
we
start
can't.
that process, it can drag on and beyond. So even from the standpoint of taking it,
Yeah, we won't even be able to take it.
What's
But
And that's fine.
certain things you could,
It wasn't
but
registration, I
Yeah.
just asked, do
Yeah.
you restrict some? And they said, yes, if we can, we'll accept
We'll
it,
take
work
it
on it
and
the
work
next
on it the
day.
next day,
I
yeah.
assume vehicle registration, they say you need to come back before whatever the cutoff time
Yeah.
is. I have no issue with that.
any other discussion?
No?
You?
I'm good. I would like to make a comment before we vote. This has been a very major task, a very major task. Donna Hobby and Commissioner Hood and others have worked extremely, extremely hard on this for a long time. We had multiple visits from Dennis Hunt, who is the CSTI, our insurance company, is that right?
CTSI.
CTSI. Our insurance man, he is an absolute guru in commissioner items. He has met with us multiple times to help us through this. And I would just like to commend those folks who were involved. I'd also like to commend all the elected officials for their input and assistance and cooperation in this. That's just a comment.
One of the biggest changes I think we're going to see is that we will now have employee reviews, which we've not had. It was a part of our personnel policy for a number of years, but it had never been accomplished. And we'll see if we can get working through this and make it reasonable.
and so those hours will go into effect
August 1.
August 1. Okay.
August 1.
Does that give you enough time?
Yeah, I just wanted enough time
Does
to
that-
be able to let
Plan.
customers know.
Do we
and
need
stuff.
more time than that?
No, I think that.
We just need to make we
Okay.
should be making a public notice
No,
that
but
states
if
that.
August 1 is comfortable.
Right.
Okay. Any other discussion?
Call for the vote.
Call for the vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Same.
It's not discussion, I just wonder when these will be available on the website for people to see.
As soon as we get all of our signatures.
John?
We have to get all the elected officials' signatures.
What again is the purpose of extending the courthouse hours?
To service our constituents. The other two municipalities, West Cliff and Silver Cliff, are also open until 5 o'clock. And it's to help everybody get their necessary services done.
Okay.
Call the question.
Question's been called for. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Thank you for a great job. Always.
The next item we have is the Hermit Bridge request for proposals. Do we have anything at this time, or do we need to table this to our next meeting?
I was gonna say, I think Gary wanted to be here, but.
Yeah, Gary wanted to be here,
Yeah.
so we need to contact him. I don't know.
Okay.
I can, just on that, while we're waiting, I can answer the question. I sent you an email both about the town of West Cliff's participation and the cost of repair or replacement of that bridge. And just to remind you, I know you read the email, it's $5,000.
Saw that.
The caveat is it's in their 2017 budget, West Cliff's 17 budget. So the request when I went and inquired was to please try and use those funds before 2018. However, if we don't, they can roll it over to the 2018 budget, but they would prefer to use it this year if they can. And it was just a request, but it takes just a simple letter saying we're ready for our money.
Yeah, I thought it was more than $200 or $300, but I couldn't remember.
$5,000.
That was.
Yeah. I thought it was-
While we're waiting for Gary, let's move on to this Upper Arkansas Water Conservancy District invoice. Last summer, we had a meeting, and they're wanting to do some additional basin storage, underground storage in the Arkansas River District. They've done some work in Chaffee and Park. I think maybe a little bit in western Fremont, I'm not sure. But we've had no studies done in the wet mountain. We've had some holes drilled and stuff in the past, but we've had no studies done looking at the feasibility of storing water in underground aquifer. Now, I see some of you get a frown on your face. What this is, if you'll, let's go to the Fountain River as an example. On the east side of the Fountain River, in the area of Fountain, there's a paleo river that's completely cut off from the Fountain River. And that paleo river is in fact a dry closed basin. And they are currently storing, Colorado Springs is storing some water in that basin, and then when they need extra water, they're pumping it out. There's a lot of stuff we don't know. How long will water stay in a basin? How long before it goes all the way down the drain or down the aquifer and comes out? A lot of the stuff to me is still up in the air. As an example, we've had radioactive material in the atmosphere for probably, do you need Gary's number?
I do.
I got it here. Excuse me just a second. Well, I thought I got it here. Where happened to the damn... Contacts, here we go. And I've got his cell number is 371-2148. And you got the bridge probably at 2281.
Yeah, but Barbie's not there.
But you can call her and have her page him on the radio.
But she's on vacation.
That won't work at all, will it?
Maybe we should.
Call Gary, and we'll see what we can get done. Anyway, back to this study. We've had radioactive isotopes in our environment for probably, I don't know, 70 years.
I've got his cell.
I just give it to her.
You did? Okay.
Water that's going into the Great Sand Dunes on this end does contain trace amounts of radioactive isotopes. It has never come out on the west end yet in the underground flows. So as it transits that area, it's taken at least 70 years, and we have no idea how many more years it's going to take to go through. So there's a lot we don't understand about the underground aquifers, but we're trying to determine what we have here in the valley so we can get an idea if we do have any kinds of basins, so we have a better profile of our waters. The reason we're asked to pay $1,667 was that the Round Mountain Water and Sanitation District agreed to split the bill with us, and we said, well, we'll pay half, and they paid half. And from a standpoint of a study, data that we need, I think, for future planning, I think it's a reasonable process.
That's what I was going to ask, because I had no idea.
And my recommendation is that we do approve this. Go ahead.
If I may, please. When I saw this, since water conservation is under my jurisdiction, I inquired about it and I learned what you said, and I appreciate your accurate comments. What we don't have, if we want to approve it, this was discussed. I went and asked for the minutes of when this was discussed, and ironically, it was exactly a year ago today on a board meeting, June 30th, 2016, is when this was discussed. It was discussed, they said it was a good idea. At the time, a letter was sent not authorizing, but approving the study. But the question of whether we would pay for half of it that was discussed was deferred. So my comment just simply is, if we want to pay this, and I have no reason not to, we just ought to do that under a motion since it wasn't approved back then.
I'll make a motion that we pay $1,667 to the Upper Arkansas Water Conservancy District as per their invoice, $1,735. This is a cost share on a water balance study in Custer and Fremont counties.
I'll make a second with the motion that was stated.
Moving second, discussion? I've had some discussion on this already, but I think it's, as we try to understand our water resources in the valley and how to protect ourselves with water in the valley, I think things like this are important tools to have at our disposal. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, pose same sign, motion carries. Okay, Gary. Here, it's Donna. Just a sec. What do we need to do, initial that or something? We just approved that bill also.
Okay, perfect.
Welcome.
Very nice to see you
I
again.
think we need to redo the job duties of the road superintendent. He come by yesterday and I was irrigating and he didn't offer to help. Welcome.
Trash detail.
Welcome. Okay, where are we with the Hermit Bridge?
Well, I spoke with Jimmy Hasten this morning. He's the project manager basically for CDOT. It's kind of a go-between between us and CDOT for this project. Anyway, I talked to him about Tensio Engineering. He was favorable. He spoke favorable about using them for our engineering firm for the design phase of this project. And then I spoke to him about the paperwork and the checklist on this project and things like that. And he, let's see, just to give you an idea, this is the checklist for that project. Anyway, I mentioned to him about using Tensio Engineering for the project manager on our behalf, and he thought that was a good idea because of the amount of paperwork that's involved in this, because of it being a federal funded.
He thought it'd be good.
Yeah, he thought it'd be a good idea. I just, I mean, we could stay in contact with Jimmy directly and probably work through this project, but I just hate to take a chance on missing something.
Liability.
Yes, yeah, and the paperwork is pretty overwhelming. I mean, every day that goes by, I learn more and more about this particular project because it is of it being federally funded.
Are these for us?
You can have them, throw them away, do whatever you want with them. But, and then I asked him about the design phase of the project, what he thought it might cost estimate-wise. And I think this is a little bit high, and he thought it might be a little bit high too, but he thought it could be upwards of $50,000 just for the design phase of the project, which I thought was a lot, just to do
That little bridge.
yes. Yeah, I think that's going to be a high estimate, so.
You could almost just have a cement crossing and a ferry during high water. This checklist, folks, for your information, as I look through it, has probably got at least 200 items
There's a lot of
that are
stuff
bullet
on
points on it. So there's lots of minutia.
Well, and then some of this stuff, if we can catch CDOT on a good day, they can actually do some of the stuff for us, like the temporary easement acquisition and things like that. It depends on their workload, though. We might have to hire that out. Of course, that's...
As the person responsible for road and bridge, I would like to move on this as soon as we can. It's going to take time, but we need to get the bridge in. And the sooner we get it in, the sooner we move on to something else. So,
yeah, you know, there's a 2-year deadline on using these federal funds, and that sounds like a long time, but being as we've got to go through all these steps, it's gonna.
And we have advertised for an RFP, and we just had the one firm respond.
Yeah, correct. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I'd like to make a motion that we approve a Tensio based. I'd like to make a motion that we approve. Am I saying it properly? Tensio
Engineering.
For the design phase, based upon the presentation they gave us at the last meeting and based upon the information that CDOT approves them also, being the only respondent. I feel like they're qualified, appropriate, and I think we should hire them for that particular phase of this project.
Second.
You second? He first.
No, I said, is there a second?
Oh, I thought you
No,
said
no,
seconded.
I thought you said second,
That's what
too.
I thought you said. Okay. I'd like to second the motion as stated.
Let's go into discussion then. The issue I have with the firm that we had, I don't recall them ever giving us a ballpark figure or what they thought it was going to cost. Did I miss something?
And that's why I asked Jimmy
Yeah.
what he thought it might
And I
cost.
think,
so.
I think it would be appropriate to invite them to come to our next meeting and give us the numbers figure before I want to know the numbers before I say yes first.
Okay.
Having said that, any discussion?
So we're going to ask them for their bid. That's what you're asking for. Because
Yeah, I
they
would like-
listed
They
their
did.
rates. They did do that. But they just did not give a proposal of what this specific job would be.
Yeah, and they assured us that because of their low overhead, that they're going to be less than any other engineering firm. And being as they are the only one that.
I heard them say that also, and they gave us the price sheet. And I agree with you, Bob, they're not coming in saying it's going to be 20,000, 30, whatever the number is. They're not giving us a hard and fast number. But when that question was asked at the Wetmore meeting, I think the nice lady also said, I really can't tell you till we get in there and do the study. And that's when she said, however, because of our low overhead, we'll be much less than others. Now, if that's not sufficient, I would say, let's table it. I'll retract my motion, and let's ask her to come, and we can hear what she has to say. Because Bob's right. I mean, we ought to know what we're going to spend before we...
Well, and they're not that far away either.
Right.
I mean,
No,
Colorado
they're just
City's
Colorado
not
City.
very
So
far.
I'm fine with that.
Yeah, I didn't realize we were approving an amount. I thought that we were
Just-
approving them
That's what
As
to
the
be
engineering
as
firm.
the engineering firm.
And that's what I was trying to, mainly because they're the only ones, and they met the other criteria, but the financial aspect of it had yet to be determined. So I'm fine to retract that if you feel it's appropriate, and we can bring it up next meeting.
I'm fine with that.
Okay, I would move then, I retract my motion, and we'll ask Atensio, I'm sorry, I don't mean to do that. Ask them to come and be prepared to potentially approve them next time once we get better figures. I think that's appropriate.
Do you agree with this?
Yes.
And I can get with her in the meantime and let her know what's going on, and just tell her, what structure we're looking at, and she can go out there and look at the project with me. I can't see any reason why they wouldn't be able to give us some kind of ballpark idea of what they're going to. And if it comes in some crazy amount, then we move on to re-advertising and.
And it would be, I would hope on there, and I'm just thinking out loud, but say, okay, for the engineering on this project, the amount will not exceed X. So if we can get under cheaper, that we agree it's on a time and a cost basis, but it won't exceed X number of dollars.
I think she's supposed to be back the week of the 10th, so it's going to be a little bit before she's available to come in.
Good.
We'll just make sure we put it on the agenda when she's available.
Yeah, I would say, why don't you get with Brenda so it gets on the agenda
As soon
for
as-
when she can.
And she'll be
available.
gone all next week?
Yeah.
So,
Brenda is also.
Yes.
Okay.
but it doesn't sound like it's gonna be next week.
She's not going to be here for the
Next week
next
she will
week,
be
so it'll be the week.
She's
it'll be
back on the 10th.
It'll be our wet,
Yeah.
but for this lady's on vacation, I believe, isn't she?
Right.
Till the
And-
week of the 10th.
And
Yeah.
she'll be back for our
So,
Wetmore
yeah.
meeting, so we can put this on the agenda to Wetmore meeting.
What? When is the Wetmore meeting? Do you know?
It should be the 19th.
19th.
Is that what
Yeah,
we're?
I was gonna say, are we Wetmore?
It's
or
San Isabel.
Yeah.
San Isabel,
Oh,
It's
okay.
San Isabel.
We're at.
Well, that's even better for her, because even closer.
Okay.
We eat lunch first too.
Great.
Okay. Anything else on,
Not on that.
anything else on Road and Bridge?
No. Except for the weed issue.
I think,
Thanks for taking care of that.
I think I've got somebody in mind that, when you talk to him, but this gentleman had a career with CAL FIRE, California, and I think has a good sense of equipment, knows the county, and I'm gonna see if he would be interested in looking at potential part-time employment to do the mowing.
Oh, okay.
We were talking about what we might do, and And if we could, you mentioned like maybe try to find someone, and if he's interested, I can get a hold of you and you can take it from there.
Okay, yeah, why don't you do that?
What we talked about between ourselves was we need to mow these weeds before they flower and go to seed. Well, as a safety factor now, you can see we mowed out here in Herman. It sure made it a lot nicer coming up and down the road. You don't have to worry about a fawn coming out of that 2-foot grass right in front of you. And the idea is, Gary said, well, if we can find somebody just on a temporary basis to come in and do that. Now, this guy will or not, but he would be one that you need to, I'm not, don't let me bias you, but I think he might be one that would understand the importance of taking care of a piece of equipment, would maintain it,
Okay.
and would do a job.
So you're saying not coming on as an employee, but just as a contract labor?
Yeah,
to do the job.
basically.
Okay,
And then what about spraying? Do we want to,
we'll get all that lady in Canyon. No,
with Fremont County?
Yes, we signed the agreement.
Okay.
For that person.
Well, mainly what I wanted to do is visit with you and make sure that we hadn't committed that money or
We haven't committed it to private property. It's county property. to my
county property.
understanding.
And also, we haven't, you haven't yourselves gone out and hired or made an agreement with anybody else to do our spraying.
No.
Okay, that's what I wanted to make sure of. I wanted to make sure that money wasn't going to be spent somewhere else before I told Fremont County to go ahead and start doing some spraying for us. So, and I think there's like 95.50 in there. And it's my understanding that Fremont County's charged about $5,000.
I would like to hold it to 5,000 just as a
Okay.
Cushion.
What is then we've got some cushion because money's going to be tight.
And they know our problem spots, being they've sprayed for us in the past. So I'll just get a hold of them and tell them this is what we got to spend and get the trouble spots.
Sounds good.
So, worked for me.
Okay.
I think that's all I've got.
Thank you, Gary.
Keep the road smooth.
Put some more compliments about the roads on his place.
Well, thank you.
Okay, thank you. This time, is there any other business coming for the Board of County Commissioners?
I don't have any.
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
When John asked the question a minute ago, you had told him that now was not the time that he had to ask a question during the public comments. Is that the official new protocol?
We've done some investigation,
Okay.
and according to Robert's Rules and Orders, I've been informed that when we have a discussion for a motion, those who are involved in voting are the ones who are involved in the discussion unless we seek other outside input to make our decisions. Now, from the standpoint of coming up with like the question he had, that is what the public comment period is for. And in the interest of time, I think that's the best way to handle it.
Okay, I'll just put the word out there.
Pardon me?
If people have questions, they need to be here for that time that they are not allowed to ask questions during the meeting.
Well, I don't like your phrase "not allowed." We always say if there's an emergency issue, as you see on our docket, we can address it. But we prefer to have the questions and answers during the public comment period because that's what it's for.
Okay.
I had only asked the question because we were waiting for someone to...
No, not a problem. No. Okay. Nothing else. I will declare the meeting adjourned at 10 minutes after 10.
Unbelievable.
Thank you for being here. We have a whole bunch of checks we need to sign before we're done, but our official business is done. Thank you guys for being here.